Good morning. Just let me close that door. This morning I have another class for you. This one is focusing around the sacral chakra. Your sacral chakra is located in your abdominal area, the lower abdominal area, and it is specifically in your lumbar spine on the back of the body, and it sits, so you find your belly button 2 fingers below the belly button, so it sits here. And it's connected to the reproductive systems, the power of creation, the expression of emotional needs, and the ability to develop relationships. And having it in balance is really good for the whole body. When it's out of whack and out of balance, things start to go wrong. So this practice today is specifically designed to help balance this area of your body. Okay. So when it's blocked, you can experience lower back pain, lower abdominal issues, reproductive practice today. And as we're breathing in and out, I'd like you to focus on this area of your body and the sensations that you're feeling. And at the very end, we'll do a nice relaxation. Okay? So we're going to move through some moon salutations. I might be moving the camera up and down because in this room, you'll notice it's a little bit different from last time. Trying to get the positioning of the camera right isn't always easy. Okay, so I'll bring this screen up just a little bit, back a bit and up. Something like that. Okay. So we're going to move through some gentle moon salutations to warm up. We'll do those twice. And then we're going to move into some more standing poses. So coming towards the front of the mat. Standing with your hands to your heart. Taking your arms up. Pressing the hips forward gently, little back bend here. Then the hips go back. And we're going to fold forward. Placing your fingertips down to the floor. I'll bring this down just a little bit, so hopefully you can see those. There we go. In what I call cupcake hands. So your fingertips are on the floor. Your hands is just got a nice big chunky cupcake. And then, excuse me, and come into half moon pose. So we're going to step one leg back and lift it off the floor. Woo. Finding your balance. Bringing that down and coming in to downward facing dog. Okay. So walking your feet here if you like. Okay. Stretching out through the back of the legs. Remembering to breathe, keeping your arms nice and long. And we're going to come forward into plank. Here, you can drop the knees if you wish. Otherwise, we're coming down through chaturanga. So elbows are close to your ribs. And up into cobra. Couple of breaths. The elbows, I'll bring that down a little bit more for this bit here. Option 3, head on hands, or option 4, hands are tucked round by your heels. Whatever feels best for you. And then when you're ready to come out, we're tucking the toes under, lifting up into downward facing dog. And we're going to step 1 foot forward a little bit, and we're going to come back through that half moon pose. After we bring in the feet together, walking the hands in towards the body. Slowly coming up into that back bend, taking the arms up the side of the body, and folding down once more. So the other side. I'm going to turn around. So that I'm not facing away from you. Okay. So we're into forward fold here. Then we're going to walk one hand forward, stretch the opposite leg back. Oh, into half moon pose. Hand and foot down into downward facing dog. Again, lengthening through the back of the body. And then coming down either through hands and knees, which I'll show you this time. Elbows close to ribs. Upper body comes down. And up into cobra. And when you're ready to come out, by all means, at any point during this class, if you feel you need to take a rest, child's pose is a great one to have. So come on up, back into downward facing dog. And again, you can walk those feet. And when you feel ready, we'll give half moon pose another try. So step 1 foot forward, same hand goes a little bit forward to help you balance, back up into cupcake hand there, finding your balance here. When you feel ready, very tricky one, come back down. And hands together at your heart. Okay, I'm going to bring the camera angle up just a little bit because we are going to do some more standing. We're going to come into goddess pose to begin with. So feet wide. I'm going to bring this down a little bit again. It's really awkward in this room, so please do forgive the constant adjustments. Okay. Feet are facing outwards. Hands together. And I'm going to turn around a little bit here as well so you can see what's going on at the back of the body. Okay, so the hips and the glutes are going back. Your hands are at your heart and we're going to spend a couple of breaths here. No more than 5. You can go as deep as you like, trying to keep the upper body straight. Lovely. And when you feel you've had enough there, you might want to come out. We're going to bring the feet forward and walk them in a little bit, and then we're going to come into garland pose or malasana. Okay, so similar sort of action, squatting action here, like we did last time. Hands on the insides, again together at your heart and your throat. Elbows inside knees. I'm going to walk round so you can see the back of the body. A few breaths here. Come on up and out, and we're going to move into low lunge now. So step 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. Option 1, we're down here with the knee and the top of the foot on the floor. You can adjust your position by bringing the feet further apart. You'll then feel this more deeply through the hips and the thighs. Option 2, toes are tucked under. Option 3, knee is off the floor. Arms go up. I'm coming down here today. This is where I feel I am. We're going to do the same on the other side. Good. We'll bring the hands down to stabilise the body. Bring that back. Bring the front foot to the back. And step the other foot towards the front of your positioning. Down here. 5 breaths here. Good. Arms down. Now we're going to come up and move through some warrior poses. So, we are back. Standing. Where are we? Ooh, we are warrior 2 and then reverse warrior. Okay, let's start there. So, right foot back, finding your balance. Warrior two. I am facing the wrong way, otherwise I'll be facing away from you. Excuse me. Sorry, my brain is not quite keeping up with what my body wants it to do today. Excuse me, I'm sorry, we all have these moments, surely. Okay, so back foot 45 degrees, front knee bent. We are taking the arms out. Checking that the back arm is level. And with your breath, calming the body, bring those arms down and the nervous system. We're going to take that back hand down to the back of the leg, keeping the feet where they are for now, taking that up, arm up, just about to see that over the top there, into reverse warrior on this side. Down, and then we're going to rotate the feet. So when you feel ready, taking your arms out for warrior two. Moving now into reverse warrior. So resting that back hand, so your right hand on the back of your right thigh. And up goes that front arm. Lovely. Very well done. We're going to keep the feet wide, and we are going to come into wide-legged forward fold. Okay, so remember, as last time, we hinge from the hips, taking the arms down. Now here, you have various options. You can come down so far that your head also touches the floor, or I think where I'm going to be today is with my hands down the back of the ankles, just supporting the legs, well not supporting the legs are supporting the arms are hugging into the legs. I am going to bring that camera down just a little bit, so hopefully you can see what my hands are doing a little bit better. After this, we are moving into chair. Keeping the legs as straight as you feel comfortable. Do not lock them out. Little bend, but as straight as you feel comfortable with. When you feel ready, come on up. Slowly. And we're going to bring the feet back together. After I've adjusted my mat, we're going to bring the feet together into a chair. So I'll start this way, then I'll turn so you can see what's going on. Now there's so many different ways of doing this. A lot of people, they like both feet very close together. So the inside edges are touching, the insides of the knees are together. Then the arms come up and the glutes sit back. So I'm going to turn like so. As if you're about to sit down into a chair. If this foot positioning is not for you, you might want to give your body a bit more room, because we're not all built the same way, so not everything's going to feel right for everybody, okay? So maybe take your feet a little bit wider, and then again we're sitting back and the arms come up. Come on up and out. Next, we are also coming into another, we're coming into another forward fold. This time, the hands are under the feet. So, I'm going to turn a little bit as I show you the pose. Please do forgive my inability to form a sentence this morning. I'm not sure what's going on here. So arms come up, hinging from the hips, lifting the toes, tucking the feet, tucking the hands, there we go, the fingers underneath the toes. And I'm going to turn a little bit for you here. Problem with carpet in this room. My mat does not like carpet very much. Keeping the neck relaxed. Lovely, and after this we're going to come down to the floor. Okay, so we are now coming down. If you have a yoga block, now may be a time to grab it. If not, doesn't matter. You might like to use a cushion instead. So we're coming into hero pose now. So kneeling, and I know you can't really see the block very well. I will turn. I'm going to grab another one because these are quite thin. So if you are trying to support yourself by sitting on it, might need a couple. So here we are in hero pose. Tucking the legs in. Realise with the block, it takes the hips a little wider, maybe makes it a little more comfortable. Keeping the upper body nice and tall. Hands can rest on the legs. Lovely. And when you've had enough here, after 4 or 5 breaths or so, and these could be put to one side because I don't think we're going to need them much for the rest of today. So we are coming into butterfly now. Okay. So bringing yourself down to sitting into a comfortable seated position. And you might like to use these blocks, they are great after all. Soles of the feet together. If you like, you can use the blocks to support your knees, like so. Well, we've got them here, why not, eh? Upper body, nice and tall. If you don't have the blocks or don't wish to use them, the knees can just gently rest on the floor. We're not pressing them down, just letting them be. After this, we're moving into pigeon. One of my absolute all-time favourites. Love a pigeon pose. And we've had enough here. Going to bring the knees in, and since we're coming into pigeon, just going to take one leg across the mat. So from one side is the knee, one side is the foot. Other leg can go back. And here we are. In the first, yoga mats and carpets. Wow. If I ever get my own studio, that is not happening. Okay. Right. So bring yourself into a comfortable position. You might like to be quite high up so that your outside edge of your front leg is pressing into the floor, lifting your hips. You might want to be down here. Option 3, holding that back leg. Option 4, coming forwards into a forward fold with it. Feeling what your body needs right now and taking that option for you today. When you're ready, we're going to come up, or we'll let go of that back leg, and I'm going to turn around. After I've sorted this mat out. Okay, so I'll move them over there a minute. So we're repeating the same on the other side. So knee to one edge, foot to the other. So option 1, high, 2, low, 3, holding onto the foot, 4, just taking a more yin or restorative kind of angle for it today, whichever feels right for you in this moment. And after you've had your 4 or 5 breaths and you feel like bringing yourself up and out, please do. We are coming down into a wide angle seated forward fold. And another seated forward fold. After this, we're coming down onto our back. Okay, so I'm going to extend the legs, turn this way so hopefully you can see. So bringing the upper body forwards, hands over the top of the feet, or over the side edges. This is option 1 for you. Okay? Option 2, we stay quite high, holding over the top of the feet, neck is relaxed. If your hands do not comfortably reach your feet, that's absolutely fine. Taking them to a suitable point on your legs. So they might be up around your knees, they might be mid-shin, or maybe down by your ankles, whatever feels right for you. And when you've had enough, after 4 or 5 breaths, or however long you feel, bring yourself back up to sitting. I'm going to turn round. I'm going to take the legs wide. I already feel I'm starting to get a bit cramped there. So working within the limits of your body. Hands to your ankles, on your legs. On the outside edge of your legs, if you wish, or they can come down to your toes. And we're going to fold forward. This is the last seated one, so we're going to come down onto our back momentarily. Ready? Slowly bring yourself back up to sitting. And we're going to come gently down onto our back. Okay. Before we go there, I did have a couple of prone poses, so let's go through those first. We're coming into bow, and then we'll do cat and cow, and then frog. Okay. Here we have a lovely yoga strap, which will be available Okay, so we're going to start on our front with the knees bent. Option 1, we use our strap or a belt, although make sure it's a nice soft fabric one, because if you are hooking it round your feet, you don't want it digging into your skin. Okay, so holding both ends, and then the hand comes over the shoulder, like so. So option 1, we are here. I will remove the strap now. Option 2, you may want to hang on to the ankles, the ends of your trouser legs, if you are wearing trousers. Or option 3, outside edges of your feet. And when you feel ready, so hold for as long as you feel comfortable. I'm going to go for 4 or 5 breaths. You might want to get a bit of a rock going through as well. So pressing the feet into the hands. That is the important bit here. Pressing the feet into the hands. We are not wrenching with the hands. And this pose helps massage all the internal organs. Your gaze is upwards. And as you're breathing, it creates a bit of movement through the body. Lovely. And down. Release the feet. If you've done one side, so for instance, if you were using a strap, or you're just holding on to one foot or a trouser leg. The rest of us, we can come into cat and cow. So getting yourself nice and comfortable, up onto your hands and knees. Bring my leggings back up, excuse me. Knees hip width apart. Hands stacked underneath the shoulders and the elbows. So you've got a nice line here running from 1, 2, 3. If this is too much pressure on your wrists, which I understand for a lot of people, it may be. If that's too much, send the glutes back a little bit, create a bit of space through the front of the body here, and take some of that pressure off. Spreading the hands out and applying gentle pressure to the floor. So, we're going to go for 10 breaths here. Breathing in, and we're curling the back a little bit. And we are looking, in between the legs here, looking in at the legs. This midsection comes up. It's all scrunched up here. And again, this massages the internal organs here, helps with digestion. It just kind of gets everything going, really. And then when we are exhaling, so relaxing. The glutes shine upwards, so notice from here, they go here. The midsection of the body relaxes. We exhale and we look out and up. You may want to add a bit of lion's breath in, depending on the day you're having. I mean, here it's still morning, just about. On a Sunday, so it's pretty chill. So lion's breath. Stick a tongue out and exhale. And if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed or angry, it's a really good breath technique. To just let all those excess emotions that you don't want to be feeling out. It's a nice cleansing, I find anyway. Let's do 2 more. And then after this, we're moving into frog. Lovely. So upper body comes down. don't have a whole lot of room in here. Excuse me. Right, let me move this forward. That might be the better idea. Okay, knees wider than your mat. Option 1, you can rest your head on your hands here. Option 2, keep it lifted. Four or 5 breaths here. Then we're moving gently onto our back. After these final few poses, we are going to have a nice little relaxation. And we're going to then end the class. Okay, so slowly come on up. So bring yourself gently onto your back. Extending the legs to begin with. Okay. Finding a comfortable position. Then we're going to lift one leg and bring it over the body. Here again, you may want to place a block under the knee while we have access to them. Arms are open. Four or 5 breaths here. Now I'm going to turn around so I'm facing you guys and I'm not facing the wall. Across. You can use your hands to help you. Okay, I'm going to turn around. Like so. Come on down. Oh. Right, extend one leg away. Lift the other one up. And it comes across if you want it to rest on the block. If not, it can come down to the floor, whatever feels right for you. I'm going to put mine on the block so I can try and keep my shoulders in the best alignment here. So we are aiming to keep our shoulders down if we can. I mean, we're not pressing them and forcing them into positions that they don't want to go, but trying to keep them down if we can. Lovely. After this, we are moving gently into Happy Baby. I'm going to give you a few options here, as always. Okay, so coming back to neutral, so back of the body, gently on the floor. Knees are bent to begin with, lifting them off. So option 1, hands under the knees. Okay. Option 2, hands between the legs over the outside edge. So the knees come really wide here. Okay, I mean, I'm going to rotate a little bit onto one side so you can see what my arm's doing. They're inside my knees, And they're coming over the top of the feet to the outside edge. Option 3, hugging the knees together. A lot of people don't like Happy Baby, they find it very uncomfortable. So if you would rather not take your knees wide, that's absolutely fine by me. So you're either lacing the fingers or clasping them together, whatever feels more secure for you, as an alternative to under the legs here. So whichever you feel is right for you today, we're going to rock and roll. You can go up and down, and you can use this as a chance to massage any areas of tightness on the back of the body. You can see why it's called Happy Baby, can't you? It's just, you can see why babies find this quite comfortable. So you're using this time to work out and focus on the areas in the back of the body that need it most for you. We're constantly rolling through that lumbar spine here at the back, down at the bottom. This helps stimulate the chakra area on the back of the body. So we are focusing both at the front and at the back in this practice today. And when you've had enough, I know I could stay here for quite some time. It's another one of my favourites. Just extending the legs. And now we're going to come into Shavasana. I'm going to move this away from the wall again. Constantly moving. Right, so we've got a few minutes left. We're going to come into nice relaxation now. So finding a comfortable position for your body. Focusing on your breath and sending it down into that area. So belly button, then 2 fingers, and here we are. Down here. You may want to place your hands on the front of the body. Breath, attention and awareness to your sacral chakra. After the physical asana practice, you may be quite warm, so this warming may help relax the area as well. If you don't feel right doing that, or just don't want to, placing your hands by your sides with the palms facing up, allowing your feet to relax out to the sides. I'm going to take some nice calming deep breaths in through the nose. We're going to inhale for 3 and then exhale, so breathing out through the nose for 6. I'll do one more with you, and then this is something to do to continue by yourself. keeping your focus on your breath. If 3 and 6 seems too long for you, drop down to 2 in, a count of 2 for your inhale and a count of 4 for your exhale. Finding what works for you is the key to success in my eyes. So while we are focusing on our breath, bringing your awareness also to the body. And mentally, I'm going to run through a very brief chakra relaxation with you. Okay, I'm going to start down at the root, where we were last time. So on your next breath in, I want to imagine a lovely red blanket flowing over the body, wrapping you in warmth, security, and a sense of being grounded. And breathe out. Next, we're coming up and the colour associated with the Sacral Chakra is orange. Visualising a bright orange light in your abdomen. Creating space and warmth and a sense of being balanced. And breathe out. On your next breath in, we are moving up to the solar plexus. That sits just under the ribs, and that's where we're going to be in the next class. And the solar plexus is yellow. So as we breathe in, feel the ribs and the belly expanding, creating space and light. And as we breathe out, this yellow light covering the body. Moving up now to the heart. Your heart is green. And as we breathe in, fill the heart area with love and joy and happiness. And feeling the calm of the green wash over the body. Coming up now to your throat. Your throat is blue. Okay, and your throat chakra helps with a sense of ability to speak, being heard. So as we breathe into the throat. You might like to breathe out through your mouth for that one, just so it really focuses on the throat area. And feel that lovely blue, that dark royal blue light wash over the body. Coming up now to your third eye. Your third eye is on your forehead, between kind of in that space between your eyebrows. And that is purple. So we're going to breathe in. And imagine a purple light washing over the body as you breathe out. So now we're moving up to the crown. The crown of the head glows white. And as we breathe out, imagine this white light radiating from the top of your head, and just covering the body in its warmth and its brilliance. Gonna have a couple more breaths here in relaxation. And then very slowly we're going to start to wriggle the toes and the fingers, getting some movement back into the body, keeping your eyes closed. And then very, very slowly and gently we're going to move on to the right side of the body. Before, when you are ready, bringing yourself back up to sitting. With your eyes still closed, finding yourself that comfortable seated position. Upper body nice and tall, hands on the knees. And allowing your breathing to return to its normal rate. And look down towards my legs, dropping the neck and the head very gently. Slowly opening the eyes and allowing the body to get readjusted to your surroundings. Bring the head up and down. Let's do this 2 or 3 times. Lovely. Then slowly roll the shoulders forwards. And back. As we are making these gentle movements, the next one being hand on top of the head, taking it gently over towards the shoulder, I'd like you to thank yourself for showing up today, giving yourself this time, bringing your head back to neutral, swapping sides, making time for yourself and sharing your practice with me. Look over to the right, drop the head up and round. And the other way. Last one here. Let's say, place my hands together. So thank you once again for sharing your practice with me today. I hope you have enjoyed this class, and I'll be back with you very soon for another class. This one will be focusing on the solar plexus chakra. Namaste.